How was your day today? Hello, we are Morning Coffee. Welcome to our podcast series addressing life's various issues, providing you with multi-dimensional perspectives on different matters and guiding you towards a truly meaningful way of living. Let's dive into this podcast episode together. What comes to your mind when you think of death? A dying galaxy? A dried-up river? A withering forest? A person inching toward eternity? Death takes many forms and appearances. Often, we humans are gripped by fear when confronted with the concept of extinction. But have you ever managed to set aside your worries and observed from the outside the journey of someone approaching death? One day, at a hospital in Chicago, through the window of a patient room, I saw an elderly man, bald, his body reduced to skin clinging wetly to fragile bones. He was asleep, or rather, positioned in a half-sitting posture, leaning against his son's chest. It wasn't clear if he could truly sleep, but his eyes remained tightly closed, his body curled up, cradled in his son's lap. Seeing him sleeping in such an unnatural position, it was evident how much pain and torment this father must have endured. The son had no choice but to let his father lean on him, rubbing his back and arms, hoping to ease his pain even slightly. I stood there for a long, long time. Every day, every hour, every moment, dozens, hundreds, thousands of souls depart from this world. Witnessing someone endure agony as they edge closer to death is undeniably heart-wrenching. A few weeks later, when I returned to the same spot, the elderly man and his son were no longer there. I heard that the man had passed away a few days prior. He had been a teacher. After losing his wife a few years ago, he was diagnosed with metastatic stomach cancer. He had only one son, who was studying abroad. When the son received news of his father's illness, he rushed home to care for him. A fellow patient in the ward recounted, "That boy, he looks composed. But every time I went to fetch water, I would find him crying in the bathroom. He cried without daring to make a sound. When you're healthy, things seem fine, but once you fall ill, especially in this hospital, survival is slim. It's just waiting for a death sentence." When he was still lucid, the father told me, "I worry I won't make it, and the boy will crumble." When his mother passed, he attempted suicide once. It took immense effort for him to regain his spirit and chase his dreams. Now, he's had to pause his studies to take care of me. Poor boy. It's often said here in the hospital that family members visiting should spend time sitting beside the patient, talking to them, and recounting fond memories from before their illness. Doing so might ease their pain. Initially, the boy would brush it off, saying, "He's old. My dad only wants to sleep now. If we talk, he can't sleep. He's already unable to eat. Losing sleep would just make things worse." On the day his father passed away, the doctor called him into the room for a final goodbye. The boy sat down and did what others had advised, even though he hadn't believed his unconscious father could hear him. He spoke about days spent riding on his father's back to school, about lying on his dad's chest and giggling, and about cherished moments shared between his mother and father. "Dad, please rest assured, I will live well, carrying on for both you and Mom." It was only then that his father truly let go. Do the dying hold on, waiting for something significant before they pass? A person injured in an accident clings on for a few extra minutes because their loved one is on the way. A mother endures a few extra hours because her child is about to land from a flight. A grandfather fights cancer for months just to witness the birth of his grandchild. This father, too, seemed to wait to hear his beloved son promise, "I will live a good life, strong and well, for both you and Mom." Deathbed promises often become etched in memory and honored faithfully. Only after hearing those words could he depart in peace. In those final moments, the brain exhibits patterns similar to dreaming, reminiscing and reflecting. The last 900 seconds of brain activity are likened to a life review. This means that even though our loved ones have closed their eyes forever, their brains may still be replaying some of their most beautiful life moments. Because even when the heart stops beating, the ears may still hear. So, in these last moments, speak to them with your kindest words. In his book, No Death, No Fear, Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh shares, "A comatose person can still hear us if we are truly present and calm beside them." Sitting by a dying loved one's bedside, if you remain composed and entirely present, you can help them pass peacefully. There is no death, no fear, only continuation. Life inevitably leads to death. The joy of birth often makes us forget the profound sorrow of death. People fail to realize that the end of life here is the beginning of new life elsewhere. As we approach death or lie on the verge of passing, consciousness gradually leaves the body, and the body's vital forces unravel. Then, the 5 aggregates — form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness — disintegrate. So what is death? Who is dying? Where is death? The answer is that death is nowhere. It doesn't exist. Be brave and trust in this. In Buddhism, death is merely the cessation of a physical, biological life. When someone is at the threshold of life and death, they may not fully recognize their own body. They might be numb, clinging to the notion that their body is who they are. They fear that when the body perishes, they will cease to exist. This fear of becoming nothingness overwhelms them. However, the destruction of the body cannot touch their true essence. We must help them understand they possess a boundless life. The body is just a manifestation, like a cloud. When the cloud is no longer a cloud, it doesn't vanish. It transforms into rain. When this understanding takes root, seeds of peace are nourished within them. Nurturing happiness is crucial for both the sick and those nearing death. We all carry seeds of happiness within us. During difficult times, such as illness or approaching death, we need friends to help us connect with those seeds. Otherwise, seeds of fear, regret, or despair can easily take over. Sit by them and remind them, as they might easily forget, breathe in. I see this body as not me. I am not confined to this body. I am boundless life. I have never been born. I have never died. Let everyone learn and remember this, not just for themselves, but for those they love most. Don't wait until the moment of life and death to start learning. Begin now. Look deeply to connect with the nature of no birth, no death, no coming, no going, no sameness, no difference. By doing so, you will be free from sorrow and suffering. With diligent practice, you can cultivate fearlessness within yourself, allowing you to pass peacefully and joyfully. Time continues to flow. Once gone, it never returns. One day, our parents, grandparents, or those we hold most dear will grow old and journey to a faraway place. I find myself unable to stop crying at the thought of this. But you know, when that day comes, and the one you love most is no longer here, don't despair too much. It's not that they've abandoned you. They've gone ahead to prepare something beautiful for you in the next life, just as they've done in this one. Facing the moment of separation, each person responds differently. When the elderly man, dying of cancer, was finally covered, his son still held his hand, refusing to let go. He wanted to keep telling him stories. It had been so long since he'd sat with his father and felt so at peace inside. "Dad, let's go home." He had never witnessed death so closely before. His beloved father, now peacefully resting in eternal sleep, looked oddly happy. This must have been what he had always wished for. Suddenly, the boy felt his heart lighten and his mind clear. Where family is, my heart is there. With a home, people find peace. After witnessing so much parting in life and death, I find myself no longer asking for riches. I only wish for my family to remain free from illness, free from pain, living joyfully and healthily. For me, that is enough. To live apart is a temporary farewell. To die is an eternal one. Life and death describes reality, while farewell and reunion reflects our attitude. In life, knowing there will be a day of parting, live kindly and sincerely. In death, don't see it as a final goodbye. It's only a temporary separation. We will all meet again. One day, we will reunite under the clear blue sky, by a serene lake. Hold my hand, wave goodbye, only to meet again, today, tomorrow, and on countless paths of life. Paths.